So you know we just streamed live from YouTube. Would you like to watch? You guys okay with that? Everything cool? Yeah, yeah, cool. Um, yeah, Heritage Arena. We've been around for 22 years, supporting real estate investors throughout the state of Arizona. So we are your resource for networking opportunities. Yeah, feel free to have a seat. Right here is fine. We're your resource for education, networking opportunities, any type of resources, building your real estate investment team. Um, so I'll just tell you a little bit about us here. First off, disclaimer, like I said, uh, we're all adults here. You're going to learn a lot of new things. You're going to hear a lot of new information. Sometimes people invite you to other events. People invite you to be part of transactions and real estate opportunities. You can't vet everybody in the room. Not everyone's always a member either. So do your own due diligence, just like you would purchase a property, right? Do your research. Part of ASRIA comes with member benefits. So we have national benefits. So we're a licensed RIA. So there's a national RIA, and there's a RIA in every city and state, right? So we, like I mentioned, do the entire state of Arizona. So with that comes benefits such as real estate service provider. So you can't do this yourself. You need to have a team. So there's discounts and benefits through the national RIA, such as Home Depot, Rent Perfect, Credit Check, Office Depot. So these are bigger companies that you can leverage and get discounts at as a member. But more importantly, your local team is what's important. Your contractor, your pest control company, your real estate agent, your property manager, your title company. These are all vetted service providers that have been with us for over 5 years. We have just under 2,000 members. They use these services. There was a problem, they would not be here. So this is an opportunity for you, one, to get discounts and benefits, as well as ask them questions and use them for your services. You don't have to, but it's a great place for you to start and get your questions answered. So this is our Monday meeting, the second Monday of every month. We do our main meeting for our entire membership of the 8,600, and we always have networking, trade show, and an education calendar. This month is bold moves in a slower market. How our resident experts lead the way. These are everyday members. They're educators here. They're local. They do business locally, and they've been in the business for well over a decade each. So they've seen fast markets, slow markets, busy and everything in between. So when things are kind of stale and slowing down, you might feel like you're not getting any deals or things aren't working out. So how can you survive that experience? Well, it's your chance to ask them questions. I'll be asking many questions and just kind of hear what they have to say. So Monday night, make sure to pre-register and show up. Then we do the same thing in Tucson on the second Tuesday of the month in our Tucson chapter. So if you're ever down there, we have meetings there. And then we do the Phoenix Real Estate Club in this room on the fourth Tuesday of the month, where after we bombard you with all this information, it's a great place to come and have a discussion and meet other investors and talk about what you've been learning all month. Underneath the main meetings, we have what's called subgroups. So depending on what world you're going down, whether it's fix and flip, landlording, the beginners group, multifamily group, we have a little bit of everything for all real estate investing strategies. So I highly recommend you checking out the calendar, asria.org/calendar, and you can see what events are coming up. We do about 12 to 15 on average a month. So I definitely recommend coming in and meeting with people. This is more than 80% relationships is this business. So you never know who you're sitting next to or what they have to offer or what you can offer them and build a long-term relationship. If you're new to ASRIA, new to real estate, our entrepreneurial assessment, asria.org/PSA, quick, free assessment, right? So sometimes when you're new to real estate, you're like, where do I start? What do I do? Should I be a flipper? Should I be a landlord? You just don't really know. So we've been working with investors so long, we know how you think and where you're at. So answer these questions, and we'll basically tell you should you be active or should you be passive. Based on your resources, your time, your money, we're able to identify what path you should at least start going down, whether it's flipping or landlording. We have a beginner's bundle. We have 16 hours of training for our members, fundamental training that's not high level. You need to know how to comp a property. If you don't know what the value of a property is, you don't know how to estimate repairs, you can't write an offer. If you can't write an offer, you're going to overpay for the property or offer too low, not getting a deal. So it's really important to understand the fundamentals of contracts, negotiating, marketing yourself in the bundle. So check that out. And also, Focus Law is a business associate here. They cut their price in half for LLCs, for real estate investors. not be buying or selling property without an LLC in your personal name. Does anybody know why? Liability, right? So at the end of the day, you buy a house in your name, you get sued, they're coming off your personal assets. As simple as making it as a business expense, 385, you get an LLC and operating agreement written by a real estate attorney, and you buy and sell on that name. And we have an online community, so outside of these 15 events every month, you can go online and network with investors. So check that out. And we'd love to have you as a member. Enjoy what you see. If you paid $20 to be here today, that applies towards the membership. It's $249 a year. Everything we went over is included. So yeah, thanks for being here, everybody. We'll get jump started into this game with Leo Scott. Leo is a good friend. Leo has been teaching the cash. Is he an investor himself, and he's been teaching this game? I'll let you tell the story. But for a very long time, he's a pro, and you're in really good hands. I'm going to hang out too and help you guys out. Michaela will be helping out. So, get up, Leo. It's all yours, man.
Investing your time in putting the effort in to understand what's money good for. Because that's often a kind of thing that you will find out that people don't actually know. One of the classic examples of that is around the idea that people who win the lottery routinely 3 years later, they're in worse shape than they were before they won the lottery. Why in the world would that be true? Because the average person, money's good for spending. That's it. That's all that money's good for is spending. And so if that's your situation, you win $1 million. Not only do you spend $1 million, but you go $2 million in debt. Because people say, oh, well, you got $1 million. Sure, here's some extra money. And so literally 3 years later, they're in worse shape because all they know is money's to spend. This game and part of what you're doing in real life is around the idea, the very separate idea that no, part of what money exists for is investing, is turning dollars into something that gives you dollars back rather than take those dollars from you as part of making it go. So Robert Kiyosaki created this game back at the end of the 90s as far as when this was created, and at the same time created his book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, to look at that difference between what are poor people educated with, spend money is all there is, versus rich people, what do they educate their kids with? The idea of, well, no, your job is to build assets, is to turn money into something that gives you more money. So in this game, you get to practice those ideas without it actually being dollars out of your bank account. That if something goes wrong, worst case, you tear up that sheet and try again, as opposed to anything else. So that is one of the freedoms around this is this is a testing bed for practicing your ideas of deal analysis, investing, negotiation. So those are things that once there are the details of learning the vocabulary of money and the rules of this game, but those are the opportunity you have to practice the things you'll do in terms of acquiring real investments. The game itself is built into two pieces. You'll all start in that center circle on the board as far as that's the rat race. And your first and I consider most important step is to get out of the rat race. And in Robert's concept of what does that mean, that goes to the sheets that you have. where you'll be keeping track of what's going on. When you get your role that you'll be doing this go around, and because we'll each pick a particular roll card, a white roll card. I see that they're counting. Sure. Correct. That's all you need. Let's see here. One of the things that we should have is roll cards. Okay. So let me see if I can hunt those up. We seem to be missing the roll cards, the bigger white cards for the different groups. Uh, 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 so, so you will receive a roll card sheet, pulling them out here, that will give you the numbers to put onto your sheets. And once you get those on there, then your first goal is to acquire enough assets to get you passive income that equals or exceeds your expenses. So you'll pick one of the white cards at random. If they have different numbers, just to give you something slightly different each time you play the game. You'll copy the numbers on your card to your bigger sheet to know what you'll be shooting for this time around. And your first goal is to acquire enough assets to make it so your passive income of zero. Yeah. So that is your salary that would go on the same spot. I'm sorry. Yeah, you don't have to write the zeros in. Just the places where there are a number, you copy that number into the matching spot on your sheet. It should be each. No. Uh, so some of the spots are just zeros by themselves, and you don't have to transfer those. In general, you're just being a Xerox machine, getting those numbers across. And once you have your numbers in, and one of the ones that's easy to miss is the child expense goes into the gray box as far as making sure you have that. There's a slot where you can get kids, and that's when you need to know that number. Doing good. Morning. Doing good. Doing good. So once you get the numbers copied into your sheet, the other sheet that you should start with is something for you to keep track of how much cash you have. And so your starting cash is the number in the middle, your monthly cash flow. So what you have after you paid your bills, you'll add that to your savings, and that's the cash you start the game with. Is monthly cash flow plus savings. Once you get it recorded in there, your yes, whatever your number uh, monthly cash flow is plus whatever your savings is, what you add those two together and put on the other sheet for the cash that you have. That's all you have in the world. So you don't get that over and over. Once we get going, because you're transferring how much cash you have to your cash tracking part, your sheet of how much cash do I have in my hand right now. Each time you go by a payday, you're going to get to add in monthly cash flow to your cash sheet. And yeah, you're not changing that number. You should have a separate page for keeping track of how much cash you have. And on that separate sheet, you add monthly cash flow to the savings to come up with how much cash you have. So on your main sheet, the numbers are exactly what's on your page. Yes, that's the sheet where you take monthly cash flow plus savings to come up with how much cash you have. So once you have your numbers from your card to your sheet and have come up with how much cash you have to start with on the separate sheet, uh, we the activity of the game is you are rats going around the rat race with the goal to get out of the rat race. And the way you do that is whatever your expenses on your sheet are, uh, uh, you need to get passive income that everybody starts with zero. So you need to acquire assets to get passive income equal to or exceeding your expenses. Your mailbox money pays your bills is Robert's idea of what it means to get out of the rat race. So we'll all start as rats on this arrow. You will roll a die to see how far your rat goes when it's your turn. Depending on which slice you end up on tells you what kind of activity it is that you're allowed to do. So the opportunity slice is lets you either pick a small deal or a big deal to as a potential investment that you are going to evaluate. Small deals take somewhere between $0 and $5,000 to capture them. Big deals start at 6,000 and go way up. So the in as a rule of thumb, if you don't have $10,000, you probably shouldn't pull a big deal. That I violated that rule, but that's just around that sort of premise. If you so you'll turn over which of those you pick, read it out loud, and we'll get into the details. But there are properties, there are businesses, there are stock investments that are on the card. we'll look at them as they come up. The uh, in addition to the opportunity, there are market slots. These are the buyers for the assets that you acquire. So if you turn over a 3-2 house on the card, it will say sells from $65,000 to $135,000. That's the range of buyer cards that are in the marketplace. When one of those comes up, you can pick to say, do I want to do capital gains and sell at this price, or do I want to keep the cash flow that I'm getting from the property? That's part of the balancing that you do in real life and in the game of it's your pick. There is no right answer. There is what fits for you and your current circumstance is the activity. The last one that has a card, doodad. If you land on doodad, you turn over one of those, and whatever it says you bought a tennis racket, you pay $200 and admire your new tennis racket. All right. Kids are on the board. You get them by landing on a particular spot. That's why you recorded your child expense in the gray box so that you know what to add on in the setup. So, in addition to the ones that generate cards, there are paydays. This is like Go and Monopoly. If you land on it or pass it, whatever your current monthly cash flow, you get to add to your cash. So that's one of the ways that you get more cash. There are a couple of extraordinary, unusual. There's a charity that instead of the one die that you normally get to roll, if you contribute 10% of your total income, you get to roll one or two die for the next 3 turns. Usually worth doing because it gets you to paydays faster, but that's the one you have a choice on. The baby is and maybe you get to add that expense to your expenses. Luckily, after 3 kids, you figure it out and can't have any more. So, and then the last one is downsize. Downsize is you losing your job, and so to simulate that, you lose uh, 2 turns and have to pay your expenses out of your cash because you're not getting a paycheck this month. And then you come back in and keep going. So that is the premise. Go ahead and roll a die. High dive will start, and then we'll just go around in order from whoever starts. So, yes, yes, you'll pick each time whether you want to do 1 or 2 for your 3 choices on doing that. So just roll a high dial start. So whoever's got the high number, and again, I'm Leo. So yeah, go ahead and roll 1 die. Whatever you end up with, that's however many slots. And the green that you come in on is 1, and you're going that way. So 6 gets you a payday. So whatever your monthly cash flow, you get to add to your amount of cash. So in addition to whatever cash you have, there is a bank. I like to call him Guido the leg breaker for the interest rate that they charge, but because they charge 10% payday for the loan. So if you borrow $10,000, you owe Guido $1,000 as an expense every month, and that's just the interest. You have to pay the $10,000 separate from that. As you pay it down, the amount you owe as interest goes down, but that's your alternative. So once we get a deal, if you get something that you can't do yourself, there is the potential that either you could sell that card to somebody else, you could wholesale, or you could borrow from Guido, or you could put together a syndicate. You could get partners to take down the deal. That's also open as a opportunity. So your opportunity to roll the dice is next. That way, that way, that way, that way. Another, so whatever your monthly cash flow, you get to add to your cash. Or if it's a one, yes, that's that first opportunity. So go ahead and read it out loud. Krugerrand. So that's just somebody's got a gold coin or some gold coins they want to unload, and there is a card in here where you get to sell them off at a profit. Exactly where that card is the sort of risk of you tying up your money till that card comes up. So. And you can either say yes or no. So no, you don't get to hold it. You get to either take advantage of it or get somebody else to acquire it from you, or say no. I'm not going to spend $3,000 right now. Okay. Absolutely. You can see if anybody's interested, and and that would be part of the negotiation process. Is they you would pick what you transfer that card to them, either for something now or something in the future. But we go ahead and put them face up on the picture in front of the stack. Yep. Your monthly cash flow is what you, after your paycheck is all the way up to the top, but you have all these expenses that you have to pay. That's why you're adding monthly cash flow to to your cash. You don't get your payday. Your creditors want to be paid. Uh, yep. Is yes, when you start, your total income is whatever your salary is. As you add assets, that number will go up. So yes, that number and your salary should be the same on your card. So that's why you wrote the same number in both places, because you don't have extra assets. But when you get something that generates cash flow, you'll add that in here, and that additional passive income will make your total income get bigger and your monthly cash flow get bigger. as long as you're using monthly cash flow as opposed to after paying your bills, not salary, then yes. All right. What'd you get? Okay. So you get to subtract from your cash that amount. No, this is a single expense, so it's just a subtraction off of his cash. Unfortunately, we haven't come by the land yet, so no one has any land to. So yeah, just goes back and. But at the beginning, there'll be things come up in the market that no one's acquired yet. Very good. The $2,000 down pay is the money she has to come up with to acquire that deal. The mortgage that's still left is, even if it comes in at 100,000, as far as the buyer, she doesn't get all 100,000. She gets to subtract off the mortgage to come up with how much of that she gets. And so if she wants to do that, she'll subtract 2,000 from her cash sheet to pay the down payment. You can, absolutely. If you want to borrow, then you would, at the very bottom right of there is loans of your main sheet. You put $2,000 in as at the very bottom down there, and that will turn into a $200 loan expense. Your total expenses get bigger by 200, and the now that you use that money to acquire the asset, so there's two places you record this asset. So as income under real estate, you'd say 232 house, or however you want to label it, and whatever the passive income, because that's net after paying all your bills and the mortgage. So whatever 250 or whatever it was, that transfers over to passive income. So so all that transfers is the passive income. So whatever this is making is what you now have 700. Yes, because that's all the passive. Your paycheck is not passive. Your salary is you trading dollars, hours for dollars. So that's not passive income. So yes, your total income gets bigger, and now your monthly cash flow is always the difference between total income and total expenses. So it should have gone up by $50 once you do the math as far as your new monthly cash flow. And then that covers the income part. As an asset, you will record a 3-2 house that you put $2,000 down on, and whatever the cost is, and then continuing over into the liabilities section for each house, and however much the mortgage is. So the mortgage, yes, is the difference between cost and down payment. So yes, and the mortgage you record if you go to sell it, it's going to be whatever they're buying for minus the mortgage that you still have outstanding. So that's why you keep track of it. And that is, those are the steps. This is part of the vocabulary of the rich in terms of these are simplified versions of balance sheets and income statements. And this is how the rich keep track of their situation. If you're not doing this, you don't understand the vocabulary of the rich. So that's what we're practicing here is how do you actually keep track of your money situation. Now, if you guys were aggressive, just because she got that deal doesn't mean that you can't have made her an offer on that deal, because that's a fabulous house. And again, beyond what I expect you to do on the first time, but I have offered to $5,000 to become the partner of the person who draws that card, as an example of the bigger scope of just because somebody else has a deal doesn't mean that it's not your deal. That's every deal that comes up, you should be thinking in terms of, well, that's my deal. She happens to be holding it, but that's my deal. Go ahead. Yep. Nope. Nope. That's now built into your paycheck. That net $50 change is. uh, uh, yeah. All right. Or you can't lose if you don't play. I like the other version of it. Okay, so you went by payday, so you get to add your monthly cash flow to your cash, and then you get to do whatever. Uh, Yep, that's in the big deal pile. So yes, another one that's nobody's got that asset. All right. Baby. So so in your gray box, you get to put a one on top, and then the expense uh, goes over to child expense in your expenses. So, so on your list of expenses, there's a spot for child expenses. And yes, your total expenses go up by that much. And your monthly cash flow goes down by that much. So that doesn't, not yet. It's now built in. So the next time you get a paycheck, you're going to get a smaller amount because of the cost of your kid. No, No, it's worse. You built it into every month in terms of it's not a one-time expense. This is the every payday expense of having a kid. So, uh, 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 so you get your paycheck, whatever your new monthly cash flow, that $50 more number is what you will be adding to your cash flow. As you acquire assets, your uh, monthly cash flow will change. Well, monthly cash flow is your total income minus your total expenses. Uh, so, so that, yeah, that baby expense. Right. So when you got the baby, that expense should have come over here as a child expense, which that should have made your total expenses get bigger by that much. It didn't replace that. It made it get bigger as far as what's there. And then your monthly cash flow is always the difference between total income minus total expenses. It's what you got left after you pay your bills. Uh, Correct. That is what's going to happen the next time you get a paycheck. So you built the cost of having the kid into your ongoing, when you get paid, it will be less because of the cost of having a kid. Um, so, uh, 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 so, so you have the opportunity to buy high and sell low, which now in the advanced version of this game they add in options and shorts so that you can bet against the price. But in the base game, it's purely the classic buy and pray kind of thing that most employees are. You should buy and hold this until it gets better. Uh, so this is one of the cases. On that card, it shows the normal trading range, and so the way you make money is you buy it when it's low and sell it later when a card comes up that's higher. Unfortunately, this is on the high side, so not all deals are good deals. Same stock. Uh, yeah. Yeah, it would have made that 40 even worse. Yep. So that ranges like a 52-week average on a stock chart. That's what's been happening, but that's not necessarily where it can go in the extreme case. So, but that's the normal set of cards that are in there for you to try and make any money on them. So did you just get downsized? All right. Yep, and that's what these rings are for. We'll move you out here, and next turn you'll move in, and then you'll move in, and then you'll get a turn again. Almost nobody does. I only found that out by asking the people at Rich Dad, why in the world are there these silly rings? And they said, oh, well, wow, you guys are getting a lot of market. So if you had acquired a condo, and there are condos in the small deal, this would be an opportunity to flip it if you wanted to get out here by your passive income being equal or greater than your total expenses. Your mailbox money pays your bills. So you've got, like her house that she acquired, you've got to acquire enough assets to be generating enough passive income to cover your expenses.